Hello. Since last week I released the English translations of the 修炼好 Kinquit. Many have emailed me asking me why is it the 修炼好 divide into 5 parts, and why is it the first part just open up the 一级 kamyongma. It take 5 lines to describe that. Okay. What is so important about this open up the 一级 kamyongma, and while there's 4 other sections which is have more action and so forth, but this open up 一级 kamyongma is just 一级 kamyongma. So why you use 5 lines to describe it? Okay, so let me tell you my view, okay, in my understanding. So all 修炼好 is break into 5 parts. The first part is, as we call it, open up the 一级 kamyongma. As normal in general we talk about that way. Is that true? No, it's not just open up the 一级 kamyongma. It's not that. The first section is actually building a platform. Okay, like a tree. Before there is the branches, it is the root and the tree trunk, which is that is the content of the first part. So all the 6 elements, the body, mind, breathing, qi, jing, momentum, all is involved in that. So another word is that it's like that is the transmissions of the car, the trunk and the roots of the tree or the engine. If that thing is not developed properly, then the rest is trouble. You can evolve outside or going extreme, because this is the first part is the platform. Okay. So say for example in the mind, the body and the mind, and the mind area, I bring up the N wave 2, so that we modern people today, we can experience the coherent states, or the ancient or the Chinese call it the silent states of the mind. Okay. And same thing today, I can share with you about the body. Okay, the basic of the body. We all talk about something called willow body, or the power of willow, right? So what is it? And we all talk about everybody have his own guess, quote unquote. But how can we know that? What is the willow, the power of the willow? How can we realize that? How can we implement that? Is it real, or is it a dream, a fantasy? Well, in my understanding, it is real. It can be developed, and it needs to be developed. However, you need to have a specific instruction to develop that. Otherwise, it cannot be done. And that's also the reason it's like this. 修炼好 1850, as we understand, the steps of 修炼好, or the Wing Chun, the core root of the Wing Chun, the platform, okay, which is this first section, is a zhong. Zhong meaning like 站桩, okay, standing stick, as the inner school or the internal art school call it, internal style call it standing stick. It is not the kneeling horse, which is like using your knee to kneel on the ground to make your center of gravity low, make your lower part of the abdomen really, lower part of the body really strong and rooted and fall on there. Those kneeling stand is not that. It's not the rack where you have a wide stand so that you can support your body and your structure. It's not that either. It is stick. Stick means you stick yourself down into the ground. Okay? So that is the standing stick. Okay? And of course, we don't stick ourselves down the ground, but this is the analogy of it. Now, in order to implement this, the power of willow or the snake body in the stationary, or the rattan, the rattan rod stick into the ground, two critical things need to be understood, which is most, I would say 90% of we don't know it. Or I can even say maybe 95% or 95% of us don't know it. Okay? If I do not learn this from Sifus, I can spend maybe 10 lifetimes and I cannot guess what it is. So that's how critical is this thing. Okay. So the power of willow, the basic core of the power of willow, based on two critical elements. And let me share with you these elements today. Okay? So you know that this Yi Kam Ma is actually called Yi Kam Zong. It's not a stance as the southern fish stance, or it's not a rack, because it's a different type of platform. Okay? And so the first key of the power of willow is what? It's your 7 joints. Okay? Especially your shoulder joint, your hip joints, your knee joints, your ankle joints, and your 7 bow. If that is not clearly, accurately understood, and open it up and use it, one will be locked out from this willow power total. Okay. Usually, this joint, we know this joint pretty clearly. There's no ambiguity of that. The shoulder joint, this hip joint, no ambiguity either. Okay. The knee joint, the ankle joint, and the 7 joint, or the 7 bow, there's issue there. Okay. The ankle joint we are pretty clear, but the knee joints and the 7 joints, or the 7 bow, or the feet joints, there's issue, and let me clear up for you today. Knee joints. The knee joints is not using the front of the knee, but back of the knee. Okay? Because if you use the front of the knee, you'll damage your knee. Anyway, it's back of the knee. So it is straight down. If there's any force, it's straight down from head or the middle of this shoulder, direct down to the ground. It's not via the what do you call it, the knee, the kneecap area. No, it's back of the knee. Okay. So that is the knee joint, need to understood. The second thing is, we all argue about, it is using the K1 to take the weight, to using the heels to take the weight, the body weight. Well, guess what? Both wrong. Okay? And that K1 or that heels are actually the 7 bows, the 7 joint. Okay? So if we want to look at this body's joints, okay, you have the 7 joints. Okay, count one by one. You have the wrist, 1, 2, 3, 4, ankle 5. Knee 5, ankle 6, and the 7 joint, which is under the feet. So where it is? It is here. This is a shoe, right? This is like your leg. Okay? This is like your leg. Okay? This is your, this area. This area is your K1 point. This is your heel. If you put weight on your K1 point, guess what? You will hurt your knee. Guaranteed, because that is human anatomy. If you put your weight on the heel, you will be unstable and you will be always get bounced up from the ground. Okay? So these two are not the 7 joints. So where is the 7 joint, or the 7 bone? Is this. This area covered by my palm. That is the 7 joints. That is the 7 bone. That is the place like a suction cup. Okay? So it's like a suction cup there. Okay, like if this is my feet, this is the area of the. Okay, let me show you. If this is the feet, this is that area. It's like a suction cup. You can doing this way. That is the locations of the 7 bone. So when people when the people want to play with the what I call the direct coil spring or the double helix, it is this part they are playing, not the heel, not the K1, because that 2 parts will damage body structure or damage real body joints. Okay, so you can try this. Put a sleeper under this part of your legs, of your feet when you're standing, and see for yourself. Move your weight to the K1 point or to the heel, and the 7 joint or 7 bone, and see for yourself and feel for yourself where is it get stable and have really powerful. Don't trust me, don't believe me. Just trust it and let your body tell you. Okay? So this is the first key. You identify your 7 bones. And only if you identify it properly, then you can open them up. Okay? Open them up. That is the first key of the power wheeler. You just need to develop that. If you don't develop that, you won't be able to do it. And of course, like your hip joint is really tough to open up, to lose it or open up. Okay? And so actually people standing like an hour a day for months or even years just to open up different joints. Okay? And that need trainings. But at least that now you know the 7 joints, the 7 bones, exactly, accurately, and you know that that is one of the key. If you open it up, then at least that you have one of the keys already. Now, so if you use the back of your knees, the weight is going down directly, vertically to the ball of the 7 bone. Okay? It's not residue in your body or loading any joint. No, that is where the levitation can happen, or the feelings of what I call the levitation happen. Okay, so this is no mysterious at all. Okay, so if you want to be a willow, the joint has to be open, and the whole the roots, the trunks of the willow and the roots of the willow has to be properly set. Okay, now the second key, which is a very important key, because this is a joint. We need to be able to stick ourselves down to the ground. So what is to stick ourselves down the ground means? That is also means you will be able to inject force vector down to the ground, inside, deep into the ground. Okay? And that's actually the very basic or fundamental of playing with gym. Okay? Without that kind of capability, one doesn't know how to play with gym, or the force flow or force power. That is the most fundamental. Okay, so sticking down to the ground, or as it's called, playing with the force vector or action or reaction or force, or yin force or yang force, down and up to the ground. Okay, and in this case is because we want to stick ourselves down to the ground, it is put it down on the ground. Okay, like inject the force vector down the ground. Okay. So how to do that? Very simple, extremely simple. And again, if my Sifu doesn't teach me that, maybe in 10 lifetimes I will never guess it. What you need to do is you need to release, loose out your joints, your 7 bowls, in sequence, in the proper sequence. If you have a wrong sequence, you'll never get there. So what's the proper sequence? You always need to loose up your 7 bowl first, 6, 5, 4, 3, and up. Okay? If you go from shoulder down, you're like stepping into a ground, a hard ground, when you're going down. Okay, losing up this shoulder, losing up this hip, losing up the knee, losing up the ankle, losing up the 7 joint or 7 bowl. You're like standing or stepping hard or compressing hard into a ground or a steel plate. You can never go down to the ground. At least that's the feeling. Okay. However, if you lose up the 7 bowl, okay, and then the ankle, and then the knee, and then the hip, and then the shoulder, you like standing, sinking, sticking down in the quicksand. Okay. So right now, if you go loose from up to down, you are always in a unstable state where is the reaction force always kind of bounce you off. So you have the need to use some muscle, legs muscle, to crank it in order to make it stable there. But if you losing up from bottom up, from the 7 bowl up, the loser is the legs, the legs, and the other joints. The better you are actually sinking in, like in the quicksand. The loose your leg is like your quicksand. The quicksand is looser. You're going down. Okay. So when you want to play with Jin, if you look at all the internal arts, they look at whether your leg is loose or not. It's not how strong you look, or how rooted you look, or how big stance you root, or how structured you look. No, they're looking at how loose this thing. If you know how to lose your leg is really loose, and you know the sequence, you can play with the action reaction force down the ground. So in other words, if you don't know the sequence, you never train with it, you lose from your say from shoulder to the 7 bowl, you always get stuck with the ground. But if you lose this up, lose up, you like sink into the ground, stick to the ground. That is what is called rooting. If you look at the normal kneeling stand, like when you're kneeling, cramping your knee, cramping your ankle, and you have a low CG, like you're kneeling, okay, very solidly ground. Actually, what happens is this. What happens is you're compressing to the ground, and actually you have a reaction force. So you use a lot of the muscle. Just try to keep it stable to counter that reaction force. If you look at the right guy, they use a wider stand just to stabilize the reaction force, because they actually create a reaction force which is by the compressing of their feet. Okay, So standing stick or 站桩 type of a platform, even though it looks like it doesn't do those kneeling stand like the Nam Queen or the Southern Fish, very solid, very clamp, very tense up the legs or something, or the muscle and so forth, or grabs it or hold it. Okay, those are kneeling stands, or the structure, you have to hold your structure, and even though they don't have it, it does have the what do you call it, the force vector image down in the ground. Okay. So again, in the internal style, people look at how loose is your hip down, because from that the indication is know how really do you know how to root it down or how to stick it down to the ground. Okay. Usually, if you do what do you call it, loose from this guy, from the shoulder, hip, and going down, chances is your hip will not be loose, because you always need to keep some tensing some of the joints to hold on to make yourself stable. But if you know how to lose it down up, there is where you can lose up the whole thing. So you like a stand in quicksand, and you really levitate there. Okay. So if you have this two key, the proper joints, and then you know how the sequence of losing it up, meaning the body will stick or sinking down. One is loose, one is sinking down. You know, one is loose, the joint, and another one is the sequence, and then so the body is sinking down. The body look like sinking down. Okay. That looks like what? Like a willow. Really lightweight. But don't mistake that. That is actually playing with the force vector image down to the ground. I don't have a good term right now to call it, so that I call it force vector image. So again, you don't have to believe me, you don't have to trust me at all. You just go for your best kneeling stance, clamping everything you can, or the best rack you can do. You test it up, the feeling, with stand in the equal shoulder stand, where the feet is a little bit like this or like this, where you feel really good, and your what do you call it, your weight is in the sternum bone. You gradually lose up your sternum bone, your ankle, your knee, your hip, to your shoulder, to a few times, and see for yourself, what is that feel? How is that feel? How is the stability compared with the rack and the kneeling stance? And in this case, the looser the joint is, the sinking, the stability, the more stability it is. You don't even have to use effort or muscle to grab it or to hold it. To grab it, to hold it, to grab it like in the knee stance, standing in the knees, and or to the clamping the knee, or to hold on to your structures, the triangle structure and so forth. So okay. So this is the secret of the power of willow. Simple, right? But for me, if my sifu didn't teach me, didn't train me that way, I don't have a clue of what the heck it is. I can go searching because this is counterintuitive. And remember, the sternum bone need to be known, and then the sequence need to be known. Otherwise, the body will not do the job. Okay. So if we back to this, the first part of the Shilin Trap, you see so many things there, and it is because of can handle this physical this way. The power of willow developed. So since this is the basic of how to use the force flow and force change path, okay, or the Jing flow or Jing path, this is the basis of Fa Jing. So if you say, well, kneeling, people who do the kneeling stance, you know, like the Namkani, were they fajing according like in the definitions of the internal act? Or the rag people, were they fajing? No. Why? Because they jam their what do you call it? Their bowls. They jam it already. They lock it up. It's like a spring. Okay. You latch up the spring in certain part of the spring, so the force doesn't going up and down the ground anymore. In Wing Chun we call li chong di qi, leg chong dai hei, or force come up from ground. How the heck the force will come up from ground if you lock a certain part of the joints? You can, because you actually block the thing there. Okay. So that is the Jing element. Remember the 6 core element. This is the Jing element, and it related to this body element. If the body is not handled properly, you don't have the Jing. Another thing is lower abs breathing. If you try to relax from top, from shoulder to ground, when your legs cannot relax because of always the 7 bowl have a reaction, you in no way have a relaxed lower abs to do the lower abs breathing. You cannot do it. It's going to keep tensing, okay, and it's unsettled. But if you do it from bottom up, you relax, and you wait for a while, the breathing settle. And you're going to go to chi layer. When the breathing settle, and you get the coherence, the chi layer, the dantian qi, it warm up automatically. So that's the reason why people cannot get into this state. And they say, well, this qi is nonsense, is fantasy. No, because they do not have the key to pass through every layer to get there. Okay? And with this, we talk about the Jing. Okay, be able to send the Jing up and down based on relaxation. That's using your mind to relax it, right? Because of that, they can use the mind to handle the Jing, handle the momentum. So in very minute way, the body is a piece of very good machine. Okay, but the mind move. The mind have a different visualization. The whole thing will change. This is very adaptive. This body is very adaptive and is a distributive control system and very adaptive. Okay? So, this is what I want to share with you today. Again, don't trust me. Never have to trust me anything at all. But go test it out. Okay? And that is the power of the willow. The snake body, the ratan. And this first part, don't mistake. It is not an easy coming ma like you queen ma standing there climbing the leg and so forth like a nun queen. No, it is not. Wing Chun is much more than that. Okay, because we have the Queen Queen, we know. And I actually take pride of this because of Wing Chun is so deep. It is at least par with those internal system people. Okay, it's not like, for example, like we can argue with if we using the normal kneeling stance or rack, we can argue with the internal guy. Say, oh yeah, I'm rooting too. But it is not. It is not the rooting definition the internal style said. The internal style rooting is actually send a force vector down or build a mirror image, a force mirror image, and so that they have a play with the action and reaction force with their mind. Okay. So this is for today. Try it out for yourself.